So, if you haven't heard the news, MyAnimeList is under new management, but what does that mean for the site itself? People have been complaining about this site for a while now, but will we finally get what we all desire? I don't know. When you look at this site, it looks old. Even MySpace has improved its UI. This has been one of the main complaints of the site, but today we try and see if we are able to do what the Mal devs couldn't. Make a user-friendly website. So today in this video, I will be going and redesigning these 6 pages of the MyAnimeList website, and hopefully the new MyAnimeList owners will take some of my ideas and use them. Alright, and the first thing that I did was try to create the navigation bar, and I didn't want to stray away from the overall theme of the MyAnimeList site. So I kind of kept it the same as the bar is right now. I still kind of like it. I just made it a little bit bigger so it's just more visible and more nice looking. And one weird thing with the MyAnimeList site is that there are 2 navigation bars, and I was just thinking, why? So I decided to combine them both in a way to have both of them display what's really important. So I made the drop down menus for the anime, the manga community and industry, and you might notice that where's my very valuable watch tile or read tile or help tile? Who is using those? No one is using those. I just put the main 4 tabs that you're most likely to go to, and these will function also as drop-down menus, so when you hover over them, they should still display the things you want to see. Then after that, I started to work on the main portion of the page, and for this redesign, I wanted to add a hero element. And if you don't know what a hero is, it's essentially just like a big portion of the page that looks cool, and you're like, ooh, that's cool. Crunchyroll has one, you've probably seen a bunch of other websites have this, and the main point of it is just to catch your eyes, make it look visually appealing. And you know, I'm a very nice guy. I see Mal has ads on their website, and I'm thinking, you know what, I'll help them out. I'll add the ads to the hero, so that's like the first thing you say. Yeah, we all win. We get good website design, and you get money from ad. In this next part, I'm creating the little sections on the panel that display anime for certain topics. So here I have the current season, which is Spring 2025 anime, and it's pretty much going to serve the same purpose as what it's already doing. It's just going to display anime, but of course it's going to look nicer. But of course I don't want to lose the integrity of the website. Like, the website itself functions perfectly well in my opinion, but when you look at it, it just looks so cluttered, and I don't know what I'm looking at sometimes. And honestly, I don't even open up the homepage when I open up at MyAnimeList. I just go straight to the anime seasons tab. So when I'm making this, I'm trying to make it simpler, easy to look at, but still have the same content as what it usually has. Now, as I'm finishing up this page, let me give props to what MyAnimeList does well, and it's that the homepage is very customizable. Because if you go to this panel settings, you can include and exclude what you don't want to see on your homepage. However, when you do that, it still looks a bit jank, but I mean, I like that they have that option. And of course, for this website, I would love that to be possible, but there will be no coding in this video. I'm not going to code that. That's a lot of work. I'm out of school. I'm not trying to do that. But yeah, a great idea if you were to code this site would just to make it very customizable, so you can have what type of categories you want to see on the homepage. And here you can see what I would personally want on my own homepage, and I think the homepage turned out pretty nice. Now moving on to the top anime page, and you might have caught a glimpse that I started off doing the anime search page, but I didn't like the design of it, so I just thought, I'll just do it later. Now I'm working on the top anime page, and one thing I wanted to add immediately was a search bar. And I know there's already a search bar at the top for the navigation bar, but I wanted you to be able to type a number and it would go to that anime with that rank. So for example, let's say I wanted to find the 424th anime. Now currently you would have to click through a bunch of buttons to get to that, but I wanted a search bar where you could go to it immediately. I know it's pretty obscure and probably no one would use this feature, but for me, I would want to use this feature. personally. And the search bar would also still function as a search bar for anime names, so if you searched up an anime name, you could find out what rank the anime is at. Regarding the page itself, I didn't really have much I wanted to change about it because I liked what it showed and I just updated it to fit the main theme of the site I was going for. All the information I want is already on the site, it's just making it look nice and more accessible to a viewer. So one thing I did was to condense all these top things at the top there, you know what I'm talking about, and condense them all down into one drop down menu. I mean, it's fine the way it is, but I think it just takes up a little too much space and it just works well as a drop down menu, so I just wanted to do that. And another thing I did was color code the statuses, because right now it just turns into a gray button thing, which is fine. I mean, it still displays the right information, but with the colors added to it, you're able to skim through it quicker instead of having to like put on your glasses and like read, oh, it's dropped, this one's completed, I should add this. Actually, that one's colored, so I guess that one's fine. But it just makes it easier. I'm just trying to make it, I'm just trying to make everything easier, baby. Lastly, I added a synopsis dropdown so that if you just click on the dropdown for the synopsis, it would show the synopsis so you don't have to click on the anime page itself to go look to see what it's about. But other than that, that's pretty much all the changes I mainly made to this page. Some things I was considering was adding the studios to the animes, because I love that information. I love to know what studios make these animes. But I was thinking maybe for a casual viewer, you wouldn't want to see that, so I decided to leave it out. Next, I started working on my most visited page on this site, and probably my favorite page on this site, which is the seasonal animes tab, or page. And why do I like this tab? It's because it displays all the current anime that's out and what the ratings are for them, and that's how I determine, oh yeah, I'll watch this season. For this page, I actually didn't change too much about the screen. I just, again, kept it the same theme as the rest of my pages. But something I did notice while making this page is for my own website design, I'm keeping the margins between the sides very small, which is very unlike the MyAnimeList website where the margins are super big. And honestly, if they just extended those out a bit, I feel like it would solve a lot of problems the MyAnimeList has. Maybe not all of them, but it would fix some of it. Because when I have these tiny margins from the side, I'm able to put more information, make the fonts bigger, make everything more visually accessible. But back to the page, I decided to add these things at the top left of every little tile, which indicates whether the anime is either a new anime or a continuing anime. Which is a little thing, but it's something that I would love to see. Because when I'm scrolling through the MyAnimeList seasons page, sometimes I just want to watch a new anime and not a sequel to an anime because maybe I didn't watch the previous season to that anime. So adding these things at the top left makes it easier to dissect what I want to watch. And so I chose green for the new anime, obviously, because green is new, and yellow for the ones that have sequels. I changed these dots to actual letters because I felt like the dots weren't clarifying enough, and I actually did like the letters a little bit better, while still keeping the same theme with the colors. And one feature I just really want to be added is the countdown to when the next episode is. This would just be so convenient to know when the next episode of an anime would come out, and it would all be on one site. And I think everything else on the site is pretty self-explanatory, and I think it ended up looking alright. Alright, now let's go back to the anime search tab, which I only had one goal for. Make the gosh darn categories alphabetized. That was literally my only goal. But then when I went to the website, I realized I was stupid. And they are alphabetized, but in such a weird way. It's going from left to right and not top to bottom. So my goal was just to alphabetize them top to bottom, none of this weird left to right stuff. And that was my main goal. And honestly, watching all this will probably be pretty boring. So I'm going to bring up a topic that you've probably been wondering this whole video. Why redesign the MyAnimeList website when there's a completely good alternate version of MyAnimeList already out, which is AniList. AniList. AniList has been around for a while now, and honestly, it looks great. It solves all the UI problems of MyAnimeList and has most of the features MyAnimeList already has. But for me, I've been using MyAnimeList ever since I started watching anime. And I guess I just never got tired of it. Sure, the UI is a bit jank, but I don't know, it gives me a bit of a nostalgic feeling, you know, the old website vibes. And there are still some good reasons to still use the MyAnimeList site. For one, I think it's easier to navigate, not only for anime, but for companies, for staff members, and even musical artists on the site. While on AniList, you have to do this sort of like weird gymnastics to try to get to what you want. For example, let's say you wanted to find Mappa, a very popular studio. In AniList, you would have to go find an anime that Mappa made, and then go click on the Mappa link. But in MyAnimeList, you can just search up Mappa and it shows up right there. Another thing is, I do not like the smiley faces and the frowny faces for AniList. And I know it's just, maybe it's just me, but I don't want a rating system to tell me how to feel about an anime before I watch it. Like, oh, this has got a smiley face, so you're supposed to be happy, or this one's a frowny face, so it must be bad. When really, in reality, I mean, not a frowny face, I guess it's like a chill guy kind of face, but it makes it look sad, right? But it gives you the impression that, oh, it's not a very good anime. But in reality, a 70% or 7.5 is still pretty good, maybe just a bit niche. That's why I like MyAnimeList system better, with just having a star next to the name, so you can form your own opinions. And maybe that's just a psychological thing with me, and if it doesn't bother you, it doesn't bother you, and that's completely fine. However, other than that, I feel like AniList is a very good substitute for MyAnimeList. But that's why I feel like if MyAnimeList just redesigned its website a little bit, then it would be able to compete with the likes of AniList, which has a good UI. But enough ranting about that, let's go back to the website. As you can see, I'm pretty much almost done, and I decided to add the recommendations on the side, which I do like from the original website. And overall, I just think it looks very clean and still serves the same purpose as the original site. This next page is something I really want to be implemented into really any anime site, which is the schedule. Now, MyAnimeList already has a schedule page, but it's not that good. I mean, I guess it does serve its purpose, like this shows up on Monday, this shows up on Tuesday, but I really would like it to show it all at once in a very easy to digest format. And I would also like to know the times of when these shows are going to be aired, so I can stay up till 3 AM and wait for my favorite anime to come out and then watch it right then and there. You may have noticed I still added the sort and filter drop downs at the top left, and I still wanted that to be a thing for the schedule, so you're able to sort or filter what anime you were looking for and what times they would show up. Just a little thing. And one thing I did notice about my format here is that there's going to be some space in between some of the animes. Like here, there's going to be a gap at 4 o'clock, and then later there'll be a gap at 5 to 6 before there's another anime. And I thought to get rid of that, but then maybe some people would still like it to have those gaps, just so you know that there's no anime that's going to show up in between those times. So I was just thinking just to make it an option to either show the gaps or not. But other than that, this page just explains itself, and I would love to see something like this added, and probably someone can make it better than I just did. And now it's time for the last page, which is the anime page, which is when you click on an anime, this is all the information that you would need for that anime. And this is probably the page that I've changed the most compared to the original version. Well, I guess besides the home page, which was changed substantially. Now, most of the changes should be pretty minor, like font or where it's placed on the site. The first significant change I did was change how the user would score their anime on this page. So as you can see, there's like 10 stars up there, and if you rated a 10 out of 10, you would click the 10th star. But if it was only a 7 out of 10 for you, you would click the 7th star, and the rest would be blank. This isn't really necessary, but I felt like it was a more creative way to score anime on this page. Instead of just clicking on the click down menu and then selecting 1 through 10, you're able to select the stars. And then underneath, you have the little description, which is masterpiece, and you know, all the other descriptive titles for what star it could be. And one thing I tried to add was the score distribution, which is on the stats page and not on the details page, which I thought, you know, why not just add it? And then I tried to add it here on the top part of the page, and I just realized it didn't work. So then I was like, I'll put them at the bottom of the page, and since at the bottom of the page you won't be able to see it, so I'm not going to work on it because, yeah. So I did all that work for nothing. Moving on to another major change that I did, which were the tabs at the top here. Now, on the original page, it looks really bland, it's just there. But this one, I wanted you to hover over these tabs and it would be like raised up a little bit. So you can see the details one is like raised up because we're on that page. But if you were to like move your mouse across those tabs, they would also pop up as well. And I felt like it looked very nice and I like the way it looked, so I'm very happy with it. But yeah, other than that, everything is the same. The information's to the left, synopsis in the middle, but I believe it does look better than what we have now. Oh, and one more thing. I made a dark mode because I feel like people were going to complain that I didn't make a dark mode. So here's what it would look like for at least the home page. And now with the final page done to this redesign, it's finally time to show it all off. However, before we do that, I would like to thank you all for watching, and by no means is this the perfect redesign. Every website will have its flaws, but tell me what you would change to the MyAnimeList website and what you liked and disliked about my redesign. And now with all the pages completed, here is what the website would look like.